telling me you think it's going to be something else?
I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait.
I saw you cheeky look at the items. As there we go, there's the Starfall. The Duress follows up as well. The Dog's in with a public execution. And SewMond now with another stop. Under turret will help out as Hans runs in, flashes for the Rend.
I don't see what is the flashing. HP. No, Kalista. No, Kalista. I will. Nice. Nice. No flash.
The poke bar is needed. Cooldowns available. SewMond jumps in, gets the cleanse, and Auto. The Eagle win! And the Marshall poise that comes out of this wilderness, man.
Hello everyone and welcome back after a very exciting game one, and I really want to break down here a play that is gonna get me even more excited for game two, because for me this was the most banger play of game one, and it kicks off here with this Atakan setup. If everyone remembers, G2 does have a lot of vision control here, and even though, as you can see, Azir is on the mid lane right now, GX does find number advantage over here, because right now withBrokenblade is pushing this bot wave over here. So if you can play a little bit here, this initial engage from Jackie's fails, right? And now what's gonna happen is that everyone's gonna be resetting to find better positions. Atakan is still leash, but the person that I really want everyone to keep an eye out is withBrokenblade right here, because he's gonna be doing a lot of silent hero plays. And as we can see, going forward, the leash is still there. Closer is looking for as much space as possible, and now BB, what he's gonna be doing is that he's gonna be zoning this chokehold right here. Jackie's just uses ult before Noah and June. They are really scared because now withBrokenblade is just gonna loop around into this tribe rush, and he's gonna get a lot of space. And even though everyone knows how this play ends up with this Ambessa by finding a crazy engage on the backline, look at withBrokenblade. Where is he? He's still in the backline. Jackie's is not in the fight. Noah's not in the fight. June is not in the fight. So even though you get a crazy wombo combo in here, no one from GX's backline can follow up. And right now, everyone was ready to scream that GX is winning this game. But right now, there's 5-man wombo combo, and nothing is happening just because Jackie's and Noah are not able to do anything thanks to withBrokenblade's positioning. And as the fight rolls out, even though GX does get Atakan, from the fact that they had better positioning and everyone is still relatively healthy and the backline is still intact with Caps and Labrov providing Renata W, which is a broken ability, GX doesn't really get anything. And from a complete game-winning position with Atakan, just from the fact that G2 had great fundamentals and great understanding on how to utilize the map over here, G2 finds himself in a winning position, even though GX just secured Atakan. And now Drakos and Jack, I'm sure they're gonna enjoy picking up over me, so over to you guys.
Game one was a banger. It was such a pleasure to watch, and I think there's so many incredible individual moments. Really good highlight, I think, of what withBrokenblade brought to that fight, but Caps as well had a really good fight.
There, like, oh my god, I don't know. The story of this game for me was just individual plays that G2 just took out of their pocket when it looked so lost for them, and then they just win the game. And this Pantheon and Warwick combo, in my head, okay, it's strong early game, right? But it's not going to scale. They just kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
Yeah, that last clip where Ari is just getting one-shot by a 4-item Pantheon, I was like, what are you supposed to do against that? And obviously, SewMond in the early game, it wasn't just the late game where he did damage. That's the part he's not allowed to do damage in. It was this early game, too, the coordination with withBrokenblade. And
this combo looks disgusting, no? It's you just Pantheon ult into Warwick ult. I don't know. I don't think Lot played particularly bad. It looked unplayable, to be honest, and he was so shut down.
Yeah, and I think, credit to SewMond for constantly pushing on these angles. He had a lot of highlight moments. I think you can say that Noah fumbled the bag a little bit on that top side play, but overall, this was incredibly impressive. It delivered on the early game that we kind of know Pantheon can have, but then late game was still super clutch in the fights. And for most of us who've seen a Warwick top lane, sorry that you've been cursed to see that one. But it does, it either wins the game at one item or before one item, or it dies and does nothing. Yeah, and this was very different than that.
It was a very different experience, and this is definitely the SewMond that I was more familiar with in ERLs last year, where he just looks so dominant. So I'm very happy to see him come back to form. I want to highlight, though, Noah and Jun, for me, they had a really good game. Jun, in particular, like his engages on the Nico, he got the 5-man, he got the 3-man, he got just consistently these crazy Nico ults that in a normal game would be game-winning. But in this game, it wasn't quite enough. So in my head, if you put Jun on another proactive champion like this, and then Noah on more of a hyper carry, I could see GX at least taking a game.
Definitely an angle, and we can take a look obviously in Fearless now. All of these champions cannot be played again. I don't think any of us had Warwick on our bingo, which in hindsight feels kind of dumb. But as you look at the champions that are off the board, right, 2 of the most lane dominant AD carries in the close to end of ours are gone, which, I mean, does that leave room for him to play a more traditional hyper carry, like a Jinx, like an Aphelios, maybe?
I don't know about Aphelios, but maybe a Kai'Sa or something like that. That was one of the picks that they favored before. They did lose, however, the Embess and the Vi, which you've seen the Kai'Sa paired up with. But I think something that has like more outplay potential, because you could see that in this game he was trying, but he was the one getting outplayed. And I think part of that is also because it's Varus champ. You're not very flashy. You Q and that's it.
When you push Q, Warwick pushes E. When you push Q, Pantheon pushes E, and then you don't do any damage. It's a little bit hard. He still had managed to have a pretty good impact despite that. GX are now on blue side, so focus on giving Noah that hyper carry, setting him up for success. Is there anything you can do about how dominant kind of the top side for G2 was in this game, or do you just kind of have to take that one on the chin, say, it was Pantheon, Warwick, and we go next?
I mean, I'm actually, if I was GIANTX, I'd be kind of happy that Caps doesn't have a Zir anymore, because it was just such a good like late game insurance pick. Like it became a point where Caps just walks on the screen and all of GIANTX has to click back because they get so hard outranged, and Caps is so good on this Azir. He has so good movement that it makes it unplayable for them. So now without this late game insurance, I mean, there's more of a chance.
Fearless has introduced lots of new ways for us to cope. He can't play the Azir again, I think being one of them. But I'm optimistic for GX as we head into Game 2. Mel was not picked or banned. Maybe we will finally see her. Maybe GX will be able to make the comeback, or will G2 just sweep it all away? We're going to find out after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to G2 vs GIANTX after G2 found their way through game number 1. My name is Jackspectra, joined by Dagda Dagderson. Shout out to my brother on the analyst desk, did a really good job today.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
You sound distinctly less Scandinavian than he does, though.
well, the thing is,
Yeah.
see, I can't do a Norwegian accent. That was Welsh.
Was that you attempting to?
Yes.
Well, to be fair, we were in a room at Initialize and Vedius for a large portion of today, so I can understand why I went Welsh rather than Norwegian. It does make sense.
I went to Norway. I had lots of salmon.
Nice.
Yep, and touched lots of snow, which is their equivalent of grass.
I mean, to be fair, it just exists in Berlin right now as well. So
it does. There's lots of snow in Berlin. It is a winter wonderland until you realize the winter part is going away.
And the wonder part is long gone as well.
Yeah.
It's just
the
land.
dirt under it is not very nice. There's not enough snow falling. But here in this series, let's hope there is. Now, those series bans of Game 1 are on your screen there. Earlier on, you didn't really get to see.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed in our desk with Upset Mickey and Drakos that they didn't expect the work to come through. Like, staple
like, come on,
globally,
guys. You get paid to be here, right?
So, but unfortunately that is gone, so we won't get another Warwick game. But I'm curious to see exactly what the the priority now starts to be going forward, because Skarner is still up and available, but I imagine that will be banned by G2 on the next rotation, unless they do some sort of answer into it. Actually, the Ivern preemptively being banned, so it looks like GIANTX kind of saying, hey, look, you gonna play this game of chicken? You gonna ban the Skarner?
But then, yeah, I mean, if Skarner's up. GIANTX are being given Skarner. There's no way it doesn't get locked in, and there we go.
Usually. So the answers we have seen are things like the Zhao into the Skarner. The other one was the Ivern, which is why the preemptive ban of it. But I'm curious to see what the game plan is. So he's going to be the Zhao and the Lulu. So Lulu works well when a lot of those engaged supports are already gone.
Yep.
But Renata was gone, and all you've got is Nico. So you can still go for something like a Rel in this position, which isn't the end of the world if you really want to. And you imagine that it's going to be the Jinx that then comes through for Hansam as well alongside that. But Mel hovered. Will it be taken?
Will it indeed? Again, a flex as it has been played bot, and it's locked in. First Mel of the LEC acquired by GIANTX as they try and fight their way back in this best of 3.
Yeah, so I imagine this is going mid. Some people have been trying its support in solo queue. I don't think it works particularly well. And yes, you got some poke, but you just don't really have a huge amount else in your kit to offer into that support role. So I imagine we'll be mid. Now you got the Jayce as well. These are two quite long-range champions. I think a lot of people underestimate the range that Mel has, especially when it comes to the laning phase. So I think Jinx going to be the lock-in here for Hansama, and then it kind of becomes a case of how do G2 want to round out the rest of this comp, because you've got decent range with a Lulu Jinx, but it is just a case of what are the answers to this
Sivir.
Okay.
So we've added a scaling element. Yeah, I mean, Jinx is still up. There's Zeri as an option that was still up. They want a bit of range themselves.
It seems to me they're kind of going, okay, so we realize that this is going to be a long-range poke comp from GIANTX, so what we're going to probably do is ban away things like the Ezreal in this next rotation, although it's kind of fine into the Sivir. Okay, they're just going to get rid of the supports that are more frustrating, but basically run them down. We're like, look, you guys are going to play from range. We just want a run-fast composition that can immediately jump on top of you and not let you to set up with this. So is it going to be the Rakan ban, I imagine, on this next one as well?
Yeah.
Just things that can be a bit frustrating for that Sivir to try and deal with in a team fight.
As you said, things that have double procs to really get rid of the spell shield. Alistar, a classic one where it blocked one of the W but not the Q. As you said, Rakan as well can get
Rel
it right.
could be another one. Now, like, I know Lulu does answer well into the Rakan because you can whimsy him as he goes for the engage, so maybe you're just happy to take that. Elise, okay.
Spider.
Yeah, and Sion, okay, so because the K'Sante is still, or K'Sante was banned away, so you don't really have the tanks unless you want to go for the Ornn for BrokenBlade here, which honestly I don't think is the end of the world. And just to try and get some sort of decent matchup, they may want to leave that to that 5th rotation.
Surely not Aurelion Sol's too much scaling, Dagda is.
There you go, Aurora, okay, yeah. So again, like, these are all things that do well, and when you get into range, you can slow people, lock people down, and it's kind of a, hey, we're going to run fast and try and outpace you, right? And that's basically the plan that G2 have here. So how do GIANTX try and pivot now? Because I feel like champions that can do well where they're ran into, now we're kind of what you want to fill this out with. Skarner already fulfills that role to a certain extent. He does well when everyone wants to jump in on top of him. Galio, another champion that can fit into that role, I think is going to work well, but so it looks like, is it Mel AD carry?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, a side note that Noah actually has 14 solo queue games on Melbot. Shout out to production for letting me know, because, I mean, again, they talked about it on Desk coming into today, that it has been played bot a lot.
It's not?
As
yes, it is. And it's Galio support. Okay.
Galio support instead. As Jax, there's a lot of all-in, a lot of follow-up that's now being built as well. Dagda, I want to see how this is rounded out for G2.
Yeah, I think you just end up going for the Ornn. I think you're like, it'll have a bad matchup into loss eventually. The Jax will just outscale you, but I do think having some sort of chase down or lockdown is important. But looks like, I mean, Maokai still fits that role. At least can try and clear the wave a little bit easier and keep him off the tower. So yeah. Okay, so basically G2, as we said, run down, chase down, try and close the distance onto GIANTX, which has already gone for kind of a long-range composition in both Jayce and Mel. But I think GIANTX have pivoted well, where it's like, okay, if you guys are going to run into us, we already have the Skarner. Now we got a Galio that does well as this short-range, relatively short-range composition from G2 tries to play into us. And we have side lane threat in both the Jax and this Jayce now. So I like what GIANTX have gone for. And I think they've answered well into seeing how G2 were starting to play around their early picks as well.
I think we're going to see a lane swap though, Dagda. I think G2 are going to try and instigate the lane swap with a Sivir Lulu. I mean, again, drafts we knew were going to be a bit more chaotic with Fearless It's funny how like game one changes the perception because people are like, well, you know, we don't want to pull out the full OPs. Maybe we use those options for a second game. Things like the Zhao, Maokai, especially in EU, I'd say globally, actually seen as OP. They leave the Skarner though, and they give over the Mel. Let's see if GIANTX just have some big OPs on the patch because G2 gave them this willingly. So their plan must be thus.
I think it's really interesting just to see how this is. The range and the push that you have is going to be really nice for GIANTX, and if they can try and play through that. But I do agree. I think going for an early lane swap here for G2 works out well. Just because you have an AD carry, you can actually take turrets much quicker on the opposite side and can be a big threat. So we'll have to see as we get ourselves on into game 2 versus GIANTX and G2.
Crowd's been great today, if you haven't already seen. The crowd has been immaculate. Even in the first series, very, very noisy. Even the GIANTX fans have come out as well. And as we said, I mean, I would expect a lane swap, but G2, it seems like for now, opting into what you call standard lanes. Lulu sitting in bot, so Labrov kind of expecting that they go in the 2v2 down in that same lane as well. Shout out to those fans. Again, very noisy, very good. The Howling game 1 was Poggers. Game 2, let's see what other animal noises we have in the kit. Aurora's a rabbit.
I was going to say,
I don't know.
How do you loudly make bunny noises?
What sound does a rabbit make?
I'm not making that noise.
But it's so like inaudible, you know?
Yeah.
What?
No.
Scorpion noises, you know?
Just make one up.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Scorpions famously scream the people's elbow when you annoy them.
Don't forget to sub to Twitch Prime, ladies and gentlemen. You want to avoid ads? Well, this is the way you can do it. Thanks for so much. Here's a big kiss. All right, so GIANTX in the end initiated the lane swap, Dagda. I mean, Labrov and Hans maybe reading it out, trying to fake it out. So they're now in a 2 versus 1 versus lot, which I've got to say for the Sivir Lulu is very good as the Boomerang is just getting a lot of value already.
Yeah, the only thing though is SewMond is kind of stuck on this top side. Ended up taking red and then moved immediately into his top side. So again, SewMond kind of playing smart around the lane assignments, but it does mean he won't be here for any sort of dive. But I don't think it's the end of the rope, honestly, with how much pressure Labrov and Hamsama have been putting down. But it hasn't actually been read by GIANTX yet, so SewMond has done a good job of avoiding it. So now you're getting the reset from Lot, but you're actually looking at the dive from G2, but it's G2 who are getting dove on top.
Brokenblade, I want to see what he started here as he gets a passive bit of healing. Shield of Duran as a Bramble Smash start. He flashes away. Brokenblade, the minions are going to be running out soon as well. He's looking for level 2. He's got a grasp up and waiting as well. Level 2 now acquired. He's got a twisted advance, and this is another reason why Maokai's picked in the lane swap. Very good at surviving.
But they've now left. And look at SewMond again. He got red. He got the Krugs on top side. Now he's taking the bottom side of Closer. So the fact that you also have Lot, who's he actually did end up sticking around, but going to struggle a little bit on this bottom side. So still nicely done by G2 to play for a jungle advantage in this position and not going for what has kind of become the bog standard or accepted way to play these lane swaps.
Even going further than that, Jackie's in trouble. He has no mana. Wind becomes lightning would hit him, but instead of an audacious charge, and Jackie's is tagged out. No flash from mid. Caps now gets a bit of freedom. Yeah,
you're still getting the push on bottom side though, and Lot could use his TP to get back here, but actually looks like he's just going to try and walk it forward, which means if SewMond tries to go for a dive, can be in position. Lot's going to try and sniff out though that he's gone for the red buff. So still that wave.
Good ward.
Okay, yeah.
Little bonk on the head. Labrov's here to help out just in case as well, but don't forget that Sivir's still getting pushed in as it's 2-11 in the CS game. Lot has been able to absorb experience, which is what matters in the grand scheme of things.
BB did get more though, having TP'd back into the wave. So now the wave crash on bottom side means Lot should be able to answer, but Brokenblade's actually getting to farm kind of freely in this top side, which is huge for him in the matchup, whereas you're still looking at a lot more bully power for Hansam and Labrov, especially under the towers. The range helps out so much in just being able to get the damage down onto the Jacks.
And the thing Lot's got in his advantage is the fact that he still has TP available, and of course he's gone cookies for survivability in lane, so it does have another escape there. As for Brokenblade, he gets tagged out. That's a Solar Snare that locks him in place. Some passive stacks coming up as well. It's a Justice Punch. It's a reverse from Noah that does absolutely nothing there with the rebuttal. Waiting for the Bramble Smash, BrokenBlade held on.
Yeah, the problem for BB is that this wave is now pushing away from him, so would love to be able to step up and try and get some sort of control, but he's never going to be able to. Would need SewMond to come up, so he's just going to look for the reset. So I imagine in this sort of position, they might try and rotate Hansam and Labrov up top. Jun going to interrupt, not quite,
close
with the Winds of War. But no, actually, they're just going to keep BrokenBlade here. So this is kind of a bit of a dicey situation for Reeby, where he needs SewMond now to come up and help him to break the freeze that Noah has set up for himself on top side.
You know, the other thing that's really annoying while we're talking about lane swaps is the fact that Lulu, I mean, range supports in the lane swaps are just such bullies.
Yeah.
Lulu may look cute, but that is a schoolyard bully if I've ever seen one.
Oh, John.
Good angle. Caps might be in trouble, might have to burn his flash, and he does. Shielded Rang catches him on the tail end, and Shock Blast gets some poke out as well for Jackies.
Not the end of the world, Caps will get the TP back in, whereas you don't have that luxury for Jackie, so he will probably crash this wave with Jun, and then just look for the reset. So it's a nice window of opportunity for Jun to just use the fact that that wave was pushing in top to help out his mid laner, and ensure that Jackies could get another reset off without losing out too much here.
You know what kind of sucks for the Mel game, though? Is that think about what can actually be sent back. I mean, Nature's Grasp, maybe, I guess, can be sent back out if it
but
hits.
it's only a single strand.
Is it actually?
It's one strand.
That seems useless.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it, like, maybe Sivir's W in a Ricochet wave probably gets like 2 or 3 bounces, so she also clears wave, but I'm kind of...
I don't know the interaction with Aurora.
Aurora ulti would be funny.
I don't think so, but it technically is a projectile.
It'd be like
so
the
maybe.
Olympic, at the start of the Olympic Games, you know?
But yeah, I mean, things like Whimsy, that could be really important, where you're able to, like, if someone is trying to do it to you, you can just immediately send it back and get Labrov interrupted. But yeah, I mean, I think it's even just well, it is a very nice part of her kit. It's the ability to just get a ton of damage off at long range, which is really vital, as Lot takes quite a bit of damage in return.
Yeah, not too great. Bramble Smash isn't negated, though, so good rebuttal to set us off. Shielded Ran gets the stun up. Jun is waiting for the Justice Punch, and it's again another Solar Snare. BrokenBlade's kept in place for so long. Twisted Advance is buying him time until it doesn't execute it down, and Noah gets first blood.
So the way Mel works is that the more times she hits you with abilities, she will stack up her passive, which is going to be more procs of damage, and eventually that is going to hit an execution threshold, and that's exactly what you saw. BrokenBlade just popped as he hit the threshold, and now, nicely done by Noah and Jun. Again, BrokenBlade just kind of taking a step too far forward and getting punished.
And that as well puts GIANTX on the map in more ways than one. 3 grubs now taken 2. As they get some free time with the turret, they get the push in, and 2 plates already been taken up in this top lane. As we look at the gold difference right now, yes, the Sivir's down 400. You'd say, oh, but it's Sivir, it's fine. She's at least scaling, but the Mel on the board this early is good, as closer, even starting to steal away some of the Raptors. One will be reset, but Jungle right now feeling good for Closer, who again, reminder, was given this Skarner as a first pick.
Yeah, it's curious to me to see G2 now start to rotate around the map, though. I thought at this stage, the fact that they've gotten so much damage onto the bottom side, they would just look to try and play for that bot lane tower, because again, you've got that AD carry and you've got Labrov. You can play for that extra attack speed to take turrets relatively quickly, but wanting now to rotate instead up towards that top side, it kind of leaves open an opportunity for Noah again to continue to bully BrokenBlade. And it does mean, again, Lot is going to be the one that struggles the most, because he does need damage and needs to be relevant in this game, whereas BrokenBlade would just by default be okay.
Good damage from Caps. He steps up, wants a little bit more. Jun doesn't get him with the Justice Punch, but power of Aurora in this lane. Starting to get a little bit more and more now with the Hextech Alternator, as Labrov getting some deep wards in the meanwhile as they just continue this swap in the 2v1 lane, and is still painful for Lot. As you said, keep the Jacks as far down. Another objective, no doubt, here for G2 in the early game.
Yeah, it looks like SewMond's going to play for blue buff. I wasn't sure if they'd shift Caps up towards that top side and go for a full dive onto Lot. Still an option. And that's where you can see Lot immediately resetting. It's just like, look, well, at least trying to run away, because he knows there's many members. Caps actually stopped his reset, so it looks like that dive is going to happen now on the wave.
SewMond coming in as well with his ulti in tow. Lot's already been poked down to half HP. He's popped his pots, waiting as well, but the glitter lances keep coming out. Left, right, and center. The Grandmaster at Arms matters not. The burst is enough from Caps. And his first kill now ensues.
And you can see BrokenBlade respected that. Kind of the veterancy difference there, making sure that he's away from that tower. So you will lose the plates, but you won't lose your life. And you might still have an opportunity on this next wave to actually get in and steal away some of those some of the CS and experience. Even looking at Labrov resetting here, running straight bot, I imagine, to cover his top laner on any sort of potential time.
And look, Caps doesn't lose anything from it either. I mean, he comes back to his wave and clears out most of it, Cannon mainly. So Cap's now in a very good spot. Plus that kill, he's also up in CS, so he's up 600 gold almost. And you know, Cap's just split Dagda. I don't know how you feel, but I think we've been like on a bit of a roller coaster of emotion with some of Cap's games. Like the Akali game, I remember being quite sick. But I remember some other games during the split being disappointed that, like the Silas, for example, where Caps was a big reason why G2 lost.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of, when you have picks like the Akali and the Silas, so much of that is about trying to get the team to work around you and be able to set you up, having vision in the right spots, having the pressure where you need to, and that is very difficult to make work when you're just a newer roster. So G2 now have gone back towards a little bit of simpler times with control mages in the mid lane for Caps, and he looks spectacular now. And I think, again, kind of controlling a lot of the games where you need him to, or creating pressure when you need him to as well.
Yeah.
And you can see now G2 looking a lot more confident when it comes towards even stuff like the lane swaps, where at the start they were looking a little dicey on how they were playing some of them out.
It's well said, I think, as well. G2, it's been all about this development, how things come together when they're with this crazy roster built together for so long. Now Brokenblade teleporting in. This is not how it comes together. Execute yet again. Are you ready? Noah doesn't even need to press the button. Instead, Jackies takes a kill. A response kill in response, though, as John dies down towards bot, I believe, Dagda. Where's my mind? No?
I mean, Brokenblade was responsible for the one on top, and then they're able to get the one on bot, so GIANTX will get first tower as the TP back in from Lot onto bottom side. Closer here. I don't think he can go for the dive.
He's going to drill in. He's looking for the impale. It's a good wild growth. So Labrov saving his AD carry. The all-in and mid, though, is now onto Caps. It's a bit of trouble here as Jackie wants to find him between worlds to get on out. The escape is there. Caps gets some good damage. As a return, dodges away from the shock blast without enhancement. G2 mid laner versus GIANTX. Jackie so walks in, flashes out. The burst is massive, but look who's here to make it unfair. Flash wind becomes lightning, and SewMond pulls it off perfectly.
Jackie's tried, but he just could not succeed, and it's SewMond who's there to help out Caps in the mid lane. But Jun now starting to move up. They wanted to make sure that they weren't going to try and move over towards that dragon, because when you look at Closer, his eyes are on those potential 6 Void Grubs now.
So this is going to have to be quick because, again, SewMond has just reset with a Titanic Hydra. Not many times I've seen Zhao pick up Titanic Hydra first, especially when I keep calling it Atma's Impaler Dagda, but I'm thinking of Sundered Sky being so broken at the moment. Black Cleaver being so popular in this meta.
I do think you get a lot of value from it in this sort of scenario, though, where you can... Oh, hang on, Jun.
I think he's all right.
Okay, yeah. Right. So the idea behind the Titanic Hydra here is to, as quickly as possible, get your 3-ton strike off.
Yep.
Because you're going to have the speed up from Hans Sama, the speed up from Labrov. You just want to pop someone up in the air as quickly as you can. Labrov?
Being turned on, Lot is here, Counter-Strike is up and available, heal now burn, Wild Growth is there for Labrov yet again, there might be an Execute as well, set on up with the Sun as Golden Eclipse available too, but Noah doesn't have enough stacks. G2 are being forced out around Dragon while Brokenblade was not willing to join, he doesn't have TP and he wants to stay up and top to push the turret.
I'm shocked Labrov managed to make it out of that one, especially when Hans Sama didn't have the ultimate available to give him that movement speed, but GIANTX, they get those 6 grubs, they should be able to get this Dragon, and yeah, you'll trade it for a tower, but kind of a nice job by GIANTX, and just kind of Labrov poking his head in that bit too deep.
It's just a bit of a puddle. It's not really a river, is it? It's more of a puddle. Like, rivers into that it's running water, or it's at least got some measure to it. Like, if you look from this camera angle, there's no water in there.
Would be sick as a new mechanic for like a week until everyone got pissed off with it, if you could just have a current. So if you try to run upriver, you're slow. Or if you're running down, you were faster.
Or you just see it like a singed in Solitude running down 600 move speed. He's going with the current. Your OCE would be up in arms in joy about that one. Yeah, we're in our element. Well, if anyone OCE watching right now, well done. It's like 3 a.m. for you guys.
Past your bedtime.
When I was watching LEC from Australia, from Sydney, I remember like sometimes I'd have to wake up either really early or stay up really late. You gotta have some degenerate hours to watch LEC, but props to you. Also to the SEA gang, as for GIANTX getting forced off this bottom turret right now seems to be G2's objective. They want first turret, or rather their first turret, because GX already picked up theirs. They won't get feats of strength, which has already naturally been claimed, but at least getting some gold. Well, Brokenblade tries to do the same, and will actually just be able to force this himself. So double turret is going to be the take here for G2.
So we manage it. Oh, nice flash, but
here's a tree.
There's the roots, and there's nothing that GIANTX can do, so...
Oh, yes.
Good flash, and again, like the fact that he manages to get the Twisted Advance to prevent the Skarner E was perfect. And now you get 2 towers on those side lanes.
He's back.
And yeah, I was just looking at Jun. I was a little curious as to how aggressive he wanted to go on towards that top half of the map, but they're just going to back away. But still, towers going in favor of G2 there. We're going to have to see what the rest of the plan is.
Another reason I feel like, you know, Mel's going to become more and more popular. That wave clear from early on is still just disgusting. Radiant Volley and that Solar Snare. Just AoE tools to instantly clear waves. More items, the better, of course, as Blackfire Torch and Faded Ash is picked up. Going to mean a little bit more damage. And this is the person who is the most fed from GIANTX right now. Noah yet again with a lead. And considering he's in a lane swap, I'm not too surprised, Dagda, but probably the scariest person right now that he has an item in a bit.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of if GIANTX can again set up to use the range that they have, but with G2 now having push on sides, it makes it a little bit difficult. Lot is very far behind. Like, yes, he's about to tick over to level 10, but like, there's nowhere near close to completing that Triforce, and you've already got on any spare for Broken with the Caps.
He's walking into a full shield of Durand. He's buying time because Jackie's is in this lane. Caps gets out with some burst though. GIANTX were not willing to commit and dive on that. However, Labrov is now coming in onto Noah, and there's the bounce back of the boomerang. So Noah is just now using this rebuttal to annoy Hansama.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how they, like, because G2 are clear on what they want to do. They just want to push out waves and continue to play for objectives. But on GIANTX's side, you're a little bit lost at the moment because you're not really winning in the places that you should be anymore, which is making it very difficult for you to actually get control of the map. And you kind of need that if you want to look for, say, a pick with closer, or, you know, have Jun play up towards Lost or something along these lines. And I think that's where they're trying desperately to get control of some part of the map. But the fact you have so much push from Sivir is making it really difficult for them to control mid, to then lean into these sides. And it's got to be so frustrating for GIANTX because you have a comp that can very quickly make a pick, but they're just not really getting those opportunities from G2.
And if you notice, globally across the world, we've seen a lot more of these scaling AD carries come out and Fearless, because when some of the bigger and more powerful lane options are down, because we still have lane swaps, these AD carries are making it through the most dangerous parts of their game. Like the Sivir, for example, in a pretty good place. Despite being 800 gold down, you're saying, yep, the Sivir's already at 1 item. The wave clear that Dagda just mentioned is horrible to deal with. As Herald now starts, and for G2, let's see if Hansama can do anything in the fight, as it might just reset and lose patience.
They're trying to wait for Caps to reset. He's only just gone for the back button there. We'll have to TP back in, but GIANTX already in a decent position now, so looks like they're just going to try and walk it out. SewMond just in the area if anything happens, but we'll give Caps opportunity to get back down to the bot lane.
You wait and you see if G2 think about it any further. SewMond is going to be aware of this shortly, I believe. GIANTX, however, have cleared the wards out.
It's given G2... Oh, hang on. Labrov gets caught, but...
Set up there.
I was going to say, it's giving G2 the chances to hit level 11 for BrokenBlade just there on that top side. They would have liked to hit it on Hansama, but looks like they're just not going to be a Caps TPing, though.
The flank is big. G2 have BrokenBlade at the helm as well, and as that TP flies through with Caps, note that GX have brought everyone here. Lot gets bursted out, though, and now Hansama can fire away onto Lot. And there's no boomerang to hit him down. The Nature's Grasp is set back as Jun is still dead. GIANTX couldn't walk into the fight, and Herald is just sitting there, the eye looking at them.
They couldn't get it. Lot was just like, hey, look, I'm going to give up my life if I go for this, and decides not to in the end. So G2, the CC coming in clutch to keep GIANTX off the objective, and now you got BrokenBlade again pushing that top side. Dragon is up and available. Jun has that ultimate to join, so GIANTX can still play relatively aggressive on this play.
But an objective for G2, I mean, again, with stack up to 2, it's a Chemtech Soul yet again in this game. And G2 are going to start it off right. Dagda, the gold lead, 2,200 at 18.5 minutes in this game. Just again, another early game that for GIANTX has put them a bit behind.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And again, it's kind of coming back to that frustration that we were talking about, where GIANTX couldn't... Oh, hang on. No, Caps has ult. He'll be fine.
He will be able to get out, and yeah, you're not going to use Impale for that.
But that's the frustration that I was talking about, right? It's... You wanted to get out to this early game lead. You have decent matchups and decent pushing power, but you never actually get the lane assignments you want to. And you also then have SewMond who like ganks mid, kills Jackie, so you're losing out on that tempo and that advantage that you should have in this AD versus AP matchup on mid lane. And now, to boot, you're just not quite able to get the mid lane control that you want to then play off of aggression from Jun, from closer, towards Lot, towards people like even Jackie's on a side lane where you can jump in. And you can see the second that you do, well, BrokenBlade is kind of the only target you have because Caps always gets to escape. and you're trying to kill this tanky Maokai, and it just takes so long to chop the tree down.
When you've got AD solo laners, and he's just going to build hard armor as well.
Exactly.
You know, if the Mel's not involved, even by the way, with Unending Spare having a bit of MR in it now with 25-25 apiece, and the Fimble into the HP, how do you start killing Brokenblade? It's going to start being a consideration here as for GIANTX. Their eyes head towards Arakan, spawning topside this game. GIANTX are clearing out vision while G2 comes second fiddle with Labrov just poking his head in to peek in, and you can see now Jackies has found his way in. I spoke about Labrov, he's wild growth himself. Hansummer caught out as well, but there's no overwhelm. The Golden Eclipse is used. Hansummer is out. Redemption will heal him as into the back. Brokenblade smashes down, but GIANTX stay firm. Strong as a 5-man unit. G2 were caught out.
And that was just the perfect example of how GIANTX want to try and play their composition in a fight. You can set up for some poke, but in the run of the things, when that doesn't happen, the fact that you're able to pull members back as closer, open up space with Jun's ultimate is just perfect there. Now, GIANTX, they can't go for the Arakan, but I mean, it's a really good example of kind of like where you can draw that through line. So they jump onto Labrov, but watch the space that's open up here. Brokenblade comes through, but this is now just a line that you cannot cross as G2, which means they just get to focus down onto this Maokai. And even though he's relatively tanky, like Hansummer being pushed out of that fight onto the opposite side means you can never play through that choke point. And it's perfect for GIANTX.
Really good zoning from Noah there as well. I mean, he used his ulti. It's not doing too much, especially when he didn't have many stacks on Hansummer, but that plus the Shock Blast was the main reason why that Hans couldn't get into the fight. GIANTX, they subdue that gold lead, if ever so small amount. They also set themselves up for vision up in this top lane as it's one pick, it's a couple of kills rather. Dagda, I'm wondering, what does it lead to now as well? Because they're picking up their second items, third almost on the way there for Noah. They need a couple more like that, couple of picks that lead them to the Arakan, lead them to the Baron and spawning as well.
Yeah, I do think it's still kind of the same issues for GIANTX in trying to play mid to sides. So I think they have to wait for objectives and play for these big grouped up moments. Hansummer kind of has to get into a position where he's already in river with his team to make this fight kind of work, so they have the opportunity to chase people down. But the fact that mid tower still stands always lets GIANTX have a jumping off point where they can't be chased.
Oh, you can't be caught out here. Ulti sent upwards, help from Closer, but a great ulti from Caps. Now G2 have to make the grand escape as Closer can't save the day. Dagda, I'm a broken record, but Jackie's getting caught out in the mid-game happens again.
It could be Noah now as well. Look at where Brokenblade is positioned. G2, everyone is running towards mid lane, and Noah, I don't know if he's ready for it.
He's going to have to bring the power of the sun with him. Between turrets, Brokenblade smashes down. The tank has feared Noah out. At half HP, GIANTX keep their AD carry alive, but Hansummer now might have a bit of free access towards mid.
Noah got the wave though, and now also getting that plant means that he's actually in a position to move back to cover this mid lane play. Should be able to clear out the wave, so they defend the play. It looked a little desperate, but they do manage to hold on to that mid lane turret. It's just Jackie's that they lose.
And at least Lot during the time was getting push in top, so it's not like GIANTX were completely losing out. Better CS to be denied. And Lot now playing the side lanes a little bit more effectively as well. Note that Arakan and Dragon will now be coinciding. 40 seconds towards that Dragon. Baron up in 2 minutes. I'll keep you aware of timers because it does feel like we're going to have 3 objectives maybe up at the same time in this game.
Yeah, I do think though that play from G2 kind of shows the advantages of having Mel on your team in this sort of position. Hang on. Because in theory, Brokenblade would have liked to answer with his own ultimate, but you can't because Noah's always able to reflect it. So it makes it very difficult to actually look for some of these dives and does buy some space for GIANTX. And that is kind of now where GIANTX are trying to play off of that once more as G2 set up for this Dragon. They're going to have the TP back from Noah. He's finished off his upgraded Sork boots, and now he can push in mid, and you can always play down into this Dragon area using Noah's reflect as such an important part in denying G2 the engage that they want.
Look at with Blackfire Torch as well, it hits the execution threshold, the minion just dies. It's crazy. G2 start off this Dragon, but they're not hard committing yet. Jun is getting zoned out by Labrov's annoying damage. And Caps having push in bot as well means that this is just going to be Dragon done.
But it's Arakan on the opposite side. GIANTX looks like trying to burst it down. Brokenblade gonna, I think, spot it out. No, just throwing in a sapling in towards the pit. So I think this is just going to go down. I don't know if G2 are aware. Now Brokenblade knows.
He can stop them. He can use that knowledge, turn it into power. Arakan is peeked away from. Was that English? No. Peeled away from is the word as Lot. Nah. How big is it? Like, Arakan is literally going to Woolworths.
He's even celebrating in front of him.
Joke's on you. Like, what an absolute rat. Dude, that lot cancel is so annoying. And, well, it's not the end of the world. It's still, it just kind of shows you that Atakan, most painful objective we've had in a long time. Nah, Chemtech Soul, old Chemtech Soul might have been one of the most painful objectives.
That was silly. Here's a Ronaldo ult for W for everyone.
Let's make everyone Scion.
But yeah, I think in this sort of position, again, it's kind of like, I feel bad for GIANTX, because it is just very frustrating to try and play into. This is what G2 have, as you get the reflect there, back on towards Hansama, but
yeah.
How do you, and like, this is kind of where we've seen teams figure out how to play in towards picks like the Skarner. You were kind of highlighting the draft as tough. Caps.
No splash. Yeah, Caps was just behind. Pops out, says hello, and GIANTX now don't have a flash on their AP carry.
So slow and steady again. Like, G2 are just pushing insides, grouping on mid, seeing what they can get, just trying to find moments to crack up in this mid lane tower, and it's just a slow game of attrition to try and get this down. BrokenBlade, though, needs to start to move closer. Did use the E to get through the wall there, though, so won't actually be able to threaten BrokenBlade. And now you get Caps on boss. Multiple members moved up towards this top side, so Hansama should be able to clear this turret just off the back of it.
I just realized Hansama can throw his Q, it can be rebutted by Noah, and then he can spell shield it.
Yeah.
so if he ever wants mana, because the annoying thing the pros said on the desk about rebuttal is that it always goes towards player direction.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to aim it, it like auto aims for you. So,
but the Sivir spell shield only gives you health now. They did change it a while ago.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's no mana on it anymore. It's only the health. So
wait, that
bit of
sucks. Wait, mana was the best thing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
am I wrong?
No, it's all right. Dagda, in patch 25.S1.3, there are a lot of things that have changed. To be fair, I said that, what's that, Overwhelm, what was that item that Doomby used to build on Rise? It starts with O. People in the chat, you'll know what I'm talking about. The one that gave you movement speed. I still thought that was in the other game.
Yeah, spell shield only heals.
Only heals.
I had my producer in my ear say what, and I was like, oh no, have I just said something dumb on cast?
Do you remember the item that started with O, Dagda, that used to give you movement speed as a mid laner? Remember, it was a health item? It was a tank item, started with O.
The only one I can think of is Ohm Wrecker in my head.
No, I don't think it's still that exists. Impale. BrokenBlade's caught out, but he is a tank. Wild Growth keeps him in measure as well. Out, that's SewMond rather, excuse me, BrokenBlade's now here in the same spot they got defeated before. GIANTX still willing to take the fight, but closer, can't get the wall. Labrov was inches away. GIANTX have taken some big trades from that as well. Jackie's very low as BrokenBlade looks to delay.
He just keeps going at them. It's like, what are you going to do to kill me? You highlighted already, Hysterics, like the ability to just build all this. Well, is armor and mixed magic resist, but you just so much health that it just doesn't matter. Like, you're impossible to take down right now. And again, Caps just getting a free farm in these side lanes. He's starting to pick up towards a third item in this position because of the 303 CS he has. Like, he is absolutely popping off in the CS department. And GIANTX, again, just kind of butt their heads into the wall.
It didn't start with O at all. It was Righteous Glory we were going for those playing the quiz at home.
It only really works if the tips and hints you give are correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, it starts with O. Oh, Righteous Glory. When they say oh,
it's usually followed by no as they run you over.
Dude, I keep thinking that, like, I see Noon Quiver and I still think people are building Gale Force.
It's the problem when you've been playing for a while.
Yeah, you just get caught. Remember again that item called Guardian Shroud used to exist in ARAM, I think. But that now is a little bit different. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, Warlord's Bloodlust is the last one I'll mention while G2 hover around mid. Now, Dagda, Dragon is spawning. This will be sold for G2. Remember, all three objectives on the map at the same time.
Look at where Caps is, though. He's starting to move in towards this side lane, which is why GIANTX are backing away. Lana spotted him.
And it's a really good spot as well. He pops the ulti. Caps in trouble. Takes the blast cone, though, and gets out without having to burn his flash. He's at half HP. He's got teleport available. Saved.
GIANTX, though, use that opportunity to push in towards River. This is where their poke in the long range can come into a big advantage. And all they're trying to do is bully G2 out. And look at where Closer's positioned. You have to come through this choke point, which makes it very easy on the funnel for Closer to pick up some of these short-range members. Now, Caps trying to get off towards the side, spots out the Lot there.
Oh, he almost bursts him, but Lot doesn't take that much damage from the Aurora anyway. G2 hover back towards mid. This is their strength with the Sivir. They'll just go back and pokes out Jackie's. Hansama is one doing damage as GIANTX still look for that pincer. They want that impale. They want that pick, they want that poke.
But G2 can't look for the engage because, again, you've got that reflect from Noah. He needs to be standing towards the front to make sure BrokenBlade does open up, he can cover.
It's a jump in with Audacious charge, but against the wall now found out. Impale again onto the jungler, but in a 4 as a choke, it's dangerous. G2 are getting Hans Summer to free fire. Watch him, even as Jun jumps in. Hans is not dying. Lot has a counter-strike up and available, but Hans has a Lulu there and available too. A double over to Hans, and they just couldn't take the Sivir down.
G2 were very patient in that fight, waited for just the right moments to use the cooldowns. That means that G2 now, they're just going to hold on to the wave. I think they just want to look to end.
They're going to try. Death time is long enough. We see our first Mel, but it doesn't get to do much at all. G2, their experience still comes in handy and as good as you like. Next turret number 1 under threat. Jun needs to buy time, and buying time with his shielded around is exactly what he does. He clears the wave. Next turret number 2 might be too much to ask for. He's done a good job at trying to delay the inevitable, but GIANTX, they're getting battered. They're getting torn apart by these turrets. There's damage from the Sivir. Now with an Ardent Sensor, the Nexus is being hit down too fast. Hans flashes away, and G2-0 is how they start their playoffs for winter.
G2 looking dominant when it gets to the mid-game in both of these games, managing to find the picks, prevent GIANTX from being able to play for any sort of picks themselves. It makes it so difficult to answer for anything.
Well, it was sketchy at some points. Props to GIANTX, but for G2, they gave you what you expected. As you can vote for your player of the series at LEC on X. BrokenBlade, SewMond, or Caps.
I'm waiting for you. You always give your little tidbit or your little bit of advice on who you think should be voted. I'm just waiting for it. But you're completely unbiased.
I think it should have been Labrov. I'm just saying the Lulu his trading in lane was clean. His ultis were great.
Got caught out once or twice, but still.
No lull about it, really. So, I mean, either way, props to G2. You can all vote and have your say anyway. Someone came by before and said, "You're wearing a wig. This is not your natural hair." I said, "How dare you?"
No, you dyed us.
How dare you?
You do kind of remind me of Ken from Barbie, so every time I look at you.
I feel like Ken. We have the shirt as well. We have the shirt. Remember in winter last year, there's the
pink and white one?
Candy one.
Yeah.
We have that. Why didn't I wear that today? I don't know. Didn't quite do it. Today was 2-2-0s, and I mean,
it was a quick day.
It was a quick day. It's kind of what we expected, though, when we expected Fnatic to be our best team, if not one of them, and G2 to be quickly behind because it's G2.
Exactly, and I think G2 are definitely on the up and up, and I think that was kind of the big talking point for G2 over the course of the split was how quickly could they ramp up. We already know they have the coaching staff and the staff behind the scenes to get them into shape, so it feels like it's all starting to come together with people kind of understanding where they're supposed to be in the team, but they will be going up against Fnatic next, whereas when you look on the opposite side, you're still going to wait to see what's going to happen for GIANTX and who they're going to be facing after tomorrow.
You can see behind me, my thumb's not right. They've put a top laner with Odo, so this will be great when this is ready to go. So Odo versus BrokenBlade. I want to hear about the tech because as a top laner myself, there is so much going on in that lane right now with the new changes, with Halo Blades, with things like Cho'Gath popping up, more Mundos, etc. More Warwicks. Like, we need to find out. Odo, of course, is standing by with BrokenBlade, as I said in our Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in. Tell us the tech of top, boys. We want to know. Let's talk about the Warwick.
Thank you, Jackspectra, but I'm definitely talking about BrokenBlade after his very convincing win against Jayce. Now, I've always known you and played against you as a funky player, you know, but now is the first time we see Warwick top since 2017, and the crowd loves it. Tell me about it, because we also have a little special clip for you that you can go through. It's one of the crazy things that you did today. Tell me, please, about the strengths of this champion and the things that it can do.
I mean, I think Warwick has been actually in the making since 2022. I never got to pull it off, but today was the day. I think since they made the new change with his attack speed, he started becoming very strong, and I think he's just very OP. I mean, people who play Solk, you know how OP Warwick is and how annoying he is to play against. So finally, I brought it to the big stage. Hopefully, a lot of players will play Warwick top lane now.
Well, now that you brought it, can you please just tell me what's going on in this clip? Because there's a lot of incredibly crazy things happening.
Okay. I mean, here, like with Warwick, you just want to fight. Here, I buffered the ulti of Mbessa.
That was pretty sick, yeah.
And here, I'm just fighting. My Pantheon wanted to ulti, and Labrov at the same time cancel the Pantheon ulti, I think we win this 2v3 here. But it happens unlucky.
It's unlucky, yeah.
But you guys can see like how long I can live in a 1v3.
Yeah, I was
If
surprised.
Pantheon ulti goes through here, we will win the game, and I think the game will probably end in like 5 minutes. But
Okay,
it didn't happen.
It's
It
just
didn't
that
happen.
OP, yeah? It's just that OP, your champion.
No, don't play it.
Ah, okay.
Don't play it.
It's fine. I mean, you can only play it once because it's fearless. But moving on, G2, playing against you guys, it always felt like you had this aura walking into playoffs that you guys are the clear favorites. But I feel like right now it might be one of the first times where you are maybe not the clear favorites, given that it took. Okay, don't do that. But it took a little bit to ramp up, you know. But what are your thoughts going further on into playoffs? Because it was still a convincing win, but right now maybe you guys don't feel like the clear favorites.
We always feel like we're going to win. I mean, for us, I mean, it's Fnatic next, and we always like to play against Fnatic, and we have to get Mickey back. He got us the first time, so the second time is going to be even nicer for us. He's probably giggling if he watches this, but you know what? We're going to get him. We're going to get him hard, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be very fun.
Great. And any words for SewMond, because he's standing on the PGL, and I think he's been having a great series, you know, also
Yeah.
a great split ramping up. Any words for your of encouragement for your jungler over there?
No words. He spoke with actions today. Good job, man, and keep it up. You know what I mean?